Good morning students. This is Rama Devi from Vijnana Bharati High School, Chirala. Today I am going to start a discussion on the chapter Nutrition, which is in the class 10th. Today we are going to discuss about the word nutrition. What is the definition of nutrition? The process of providing or obtaining food which is necessary for growth, development and repair of our body or any other organism body is called as nutrition. Once recall it, the process of providing or obtaining food which is necessary for the growth, development and repair of organism's body is called as nutrition. Okay, the word, by listening the word nutrition, you may remember your childhood memories which you studied about nutrition in your 3rd class to 9th class. Many things you studied. Why we have to know about nutrition? Because everyone have a better knowledge on nutrition. Because of lack of many nutrients in our diet, it may cause different varieties of diseases. That's why it means different types of diseases. That's why it is necessary to know about nutrition. Not only for the students, it is also necessary for the elders also. Okay, if we talk about nutrition, first we will discuss about why we have to take food daily. Once if we skip taking food either 2 or 3 days, what will happen to our body? Are we able to do our works normally? Is it possible? No, it is impossible, because by taking the food, we people are able to do many activities like talking, dancing, singing, sleeping, eating. Every work needs some energy. Then how can we get that energy? By eating food. Okay. The process of obtaining food is called as nutrition. That's what today we are going to learn. Okay. How does all organisms able to take the food by using the same process? No. Depending on the complexity present in their body, the mode of acquiring food also may vary from one organism to another organism. It is also vary from one cell to another cell also. Okay, if we talk about the mode of acquiring food, depending on that, we divided the nutrition under 2 headings. What are that? Autotrophic mode of nutrition, heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In the organisms which are able to follow autotrophic mode of nutrition are called as autotrophs, and the organisms which are able to follow the mode of acquiring food by using autotrophic mode than heterotrophic mode, then those are called as heterotrophs. If we talk about autotrophs, what are autotrophs? The organisms which are capable to prepare their own food in their body are called as autotrophs. The organisms which are capable to prepare their own food are called as autotrophs. Then what are the examples for these autotrophs? Like all green plants, they are capable to prepare their own food in their bodies. That's why they are best example for autotrophs. Along with the green plants, some microorganisms like blue-green algae, purple sulfur bacteria, cyanobacteria, these are also examples of autotrophs. Means those organisms are also capable to prepare their own food. If we talk about heterotrophs, what is meant by heterotrophs? The heterotrophs fully opposite to the autotrophs. Means these heterotrophs are unable to prepare their own food in their body. Now for example, if we talk about examples of heterotrophs, human beings, ourselves, we are the best example for heterotrophs. Why we are calling as heterotrophs? You may get doubt. We people also preparing our food, no? Why don't we call ourselves as autotrophs? We do not call human beings and other animals as heterotrophs. Why? Because heterotrophs, they are able to cook their food, or they are able to acquire their food from other organisms. Some animals, they may acquire food from other organisms. Some animals, they may acquire food from other plants. Like this, we are able to gather the food. After that, we are cooking, and we are not preparing the food inside our body by using light and some other materials. That's why we people are called as heterotrophs, and the remaining all organisms also called as heterotrophs. And in this heterotrophic mode of nutrition, again it is divided into 3 subcategories. What are that? The first one is saprophytes, and the second one parasites. The last one halozoic. Halozoic. If we talk about saprophytes, saprophytes means the organisms which are capable to obtain their food from dead and decaying matters. From the dead and decaying matters. Dead and decaying means the matter which is already died, means a dead plant or a dead animal, like that. They just depend on such kind of dead and debris matters, and they suck the food from dead materials. That's why these kind of organisms are called as saprophytes, and this kind of mode of nutrition is called as saprophytic mode of nutrition. The best example for these saprophytes are molds and mushrooms. Okay, and different kinds of microorganisms, fungi, also examples of saprophytes. Then move to the next one, parasitic mode of nutrition. What is meant by parasitic mode of nutrition? The organisms which are capable to take or obtain food from other organisms without killing them. They are dependent on other organisms, but they won't kill the organism on which they are taking the food. For example, if we talk about lice, which are present in our hair, they just take certain nutrients from our body and they won't kill us. And at the same time, if we talk about mosquitoes, they are sucking blood and some nutrients from our body, and they are not killing us. Like that, different varieties of parasites are present in our surroundings, and they are depending on other organisms. Some organisms also depend on the plants, as like human beings and other animals also. Leeches, they may depend on other animals like cows, buffaloes and different animals. Means the examples of parasites are lice, leeches, mosquitoes, so on. If we talk about holozoic mode of nutrition, what is meant by holozoic mode of nutrition? It is a type of nutrition in which an organism is capable to take complex organic food through the process of ingestion, are called as holozoic organisms, and this mode of nutrition is called as holozoic mode of nutrition. In this mode of nutrition, what is meant by holozoic nutrition? The process by which an organism capable to take complex organic substances through the process of ingestion. Ingestion, what is meant by ingestion? The process of taking food through mouth. The process of taking food through mouth is called as ingestion. And what are the best example for this holozoic mode of nutrition? We ourselves. We people are taking complex organic molecules. We are able to take apple, we are able to take chapatis, pizzas, different kinds of varieties of food materials we are able to consume. That's why we people also example of holozoic mode of nutrition. Then if we talk about the plants, we call the plants as universal food providers. Why we call the plants as universal food providers? Why don't we call human beings and other animals as universal food provider? Because the animals are unable to prepare their own food, but the plants are able to prepare their own food. How they are preparing food? By using simple inorganic substances. What are the simple inorganic substances? substances like carbon dioxide, water in the presence of light and chlorophyll. Later they just converting that simple inorganic substances into complex organic molecules, and this process is called as photosynthesis, which is an important life process. That's why we call only all green plants as universal food providers, because they are providing food to all living organisms, either directly or indirectly. How it is possible, I'll explain with one example. For example, we people daily we are taking milk, we are taking eggs or chicken, mutton. If we talk about the milk, animal product, egg, animal product, meat, whatever it is, these are all animal products. But if we talk about the milk giving animal, which is buffalo or cow, they are able to produce milk by taking, means these cows and buffaloes on which they are depending, they just depending on green plants. They are taking green plants as their food. Okay, if we talk about meat giving animals like a goat or sheep, what is the food of that goat or sheep? Again, green plants. Like that, each and every animal, either in a direct form or indirect form, they are depending on plants. We people also, sometimes we are depending on the plants directly, some other times indirectly also. If we talk about lion and tiger, you may get doubt. These are not depending on plants, no, they are just taking other animals as their food. That other animals, they just depend on the plants for their food. That's why the cow is a herbivore, it is directly depending on the plant. The tiger or lion, it is a carnivore, it is indirectly depending on the plants. That's why we call all green plants as universal food providers. I think you understand this better. Later we will discuss a few lines about photosynthesis. What is meant by photosynthesis? You are hearing the word photosynthesis from your earlier classes onwards. Okay, if we talk about this photosynthesis, what is meant by photo? Here photo means light. What is meant by synthesis? Synthesis means to prepare or putting together. What it is putting together in the presence of light? The simple inorganic substances, what we discussed before, like carbon dioxide and water. And at the same time, it is also using sunlight and chlorophyll. By using all, the plants are able to prepare their food. These are the simple inorganic substances. By using these simple inorganic substances, all green plants, they convert these simple inorganic substances into complex organic molecules in the presence of light, sunlight and chlorophyll, and this process is called as photosynthesis. 2000 years ago, 200 years ago, the people, they don't know anything about photosynthesis. At that time, some scientists, they just started investigation on plants, like von Helmont, and then later another scientist called as C.B. Van Neyl. C.B. Van Neyl, in the year 1931, he conducted a best experiment on plants. Before going to discuss about that experiment and what he done during those days, let us have a look. The C.B. Van Neyl. Here, what is meant by C.B.? C means Camellias. Camellias means the spelling of C-O-R-N-E-L-I-S. Camellias Bernardus. Camellias Bernardus. Van Neyl, the scientist's name. First, he started his investigation on purple sulfur bacteria. Purple sulfur bacteria. But while he is doing experiments on that purple sulfur bacteria, he identified that in the preparation of food, the light is taking an essential part. While he is doing experiment as like photosynthesis, here in place of water, the purple sulfur bacteria is using hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide. It is using hydrogen sulfide. After using this, whenever hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide in the presence of light and chlorophyll they react, they just produce food molecule like carbohydrate. Along with that, it also produces water. But in place of oxygen, it produces a molecule of sulfur. By seeing this reaction in purple sulfur bacteria, he envisioned, means he imagined, why don't we apply the same equation to the photosynthesis? And he applied the same equation to the photosynthesis and he started a formula. He created a formula in the year 1931 which explained better about, which give better knowledge on photosynthesis in a simple way. Though the photosynthesis is not a simple reaction, the equation explains the process of photosynthesis in a simple way. Okay, then what is that equation? We will discuss now. Carbon dioxide, one molecule of carbon dioxide reacts with two molecules of water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. It forms a molecule of carbohydrate along with water and oxygen. It is the simple equation proposed by C.B. van Eyck in the year 1931. But here in this equation, though it is balanced, we are unable to see the presence of glucose. That's why later another scientist called as Robert Hill. Another scientist called as Robert Hill. He modified this equation in better way. What is that equation? Instead of taking one molecule of carbon dioxide, he took 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 12 molecules of water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. It produces a molecule of glucose along with 6 molecules of water and 6 molecules of oxygen. By this equation, still now we people are learning this equation. Means still most of the people, everyone accepted this equation. Though we are accepting this equation, still many scientists are investigating on it, and in the future many modification may change this equation. Means your children and their children may know about the other modified equation of photosynthesis also. There is a chance. Maybe you become a scientist and you may change this equation. Okay? And at the same time, we also know by using the process of photosynthesis, all green plants, they are capable to prepare carbohydrates. Not only carbohydrates, plants are also capable to produce proteins and fats also. Okay, at first, by using the process of photosynthesis, they produce a simple form of glucose. Later, they convert into starch. Later, to very complex molecules like cellulose. They may convert. Okay, that's why we call all green plants as autotrophs. And we also call all green plants as universal food providers. By listening all these, are you able to understand why we are calling green plants as autotrophs and why we are calling green plants as universal food providers? After getting a better idea on this, let us have a discussion on another experiment, which is the best and simple experiment in this chapter. That is nothing but to prove the presence of starch in the leaves. Does the leaves contain starch? Yes, the leaves, all green leaves, they contain starch. How can we tell without having any proof? Are you able to believe? No. That's why we need to conduct one experiment to prove the presence of starch in the leaf. Means any kind of green leaf, it contains starch. As early in during the process of photosynthesis, it just produces glucose. Later, the excess amount of food will be stored in the plant leaf or different parts in the form of starch. Means leaves contain starch. We have you people already studied in your 7th class about presence of starch. How to test presence of starch? How can we test? Yes, by using a simple chemical called as iodine solution. If you take some amount of rice flour on a plate and add 2 to 3 drops of iodine solution, immediately the white color of the rice flour converted into dark blue or black color. It indicates the presence of starch in it. In the same way, if you take 2 to 3 drops of iodine solution, tincture iodine solution or beta iodine solution, if you add on a green leaf directly, does the green leaf turn into dark blue or black? Impossible. Why? Because if you want to prove the presence of starch in the leaf, here we need to follow one procedure. What is that procedure? Here, the aim of this experiment is to prove presence of starch in leaves. Okay, what are the requirements we need? What are the necessary materials we need? The first one is a Bunsen burner and a tripod stand, a wire gauze or asbestos gas. This one is wire gauze or asbestos gas, a beaker, a boiling test tube and a leaf. A fresh green leaf we have to take. These are the required materials for this experiment. Okay, for doing this experiment, you just take a beaker which is filled with water and a boiling tube which is also half filled with methylated spirit. In this, what do we have? Methylated spirit. In the beaker, what do we have? Water. And you may get one doubt. Why do we need beaker and water again? Why don't we boil the test tube directly on the flame? If you boil the boiling tube directly on the flame, the experiment just get burnt. Because the alcohol, the methylated spirit, vapors able to catch the fire easily. That's why instead of boil the alcohol directly on the flame, we have to boil the alcohol in a water bath. The beaker which is containing water is called as water bath. That's why we have to arrange the operators in this manner. After that, start the boiling. Whenever we started the boiling, within a few minutes, the green color of the leaf, it just turned into pale color. The dark green color leaf just releases its chlorophyll to the methylated spirit. Means the colorless methylated spirit turns into green color. Whenever it turns into green color, the leaf remains colorless. At that time, by offing the Bunsen burner, we have to remove the leaf from the boiling test tube. Later, by using a brush, smoothly we have to remove from the methylated spirit. Later, spread the removed leaf on a petri dish. Okay, this structure is called as a petri dish, and we have to spread the leaf on a petri dish. Later, take a iodine solution, tincture iodine solution, and add 2 or 3 drops of iodine solution on the leaf. Immediately, the colorless or pale color leaf turns it color to black or dark blue. Whenever it turns its color to black or dark blue, it indicates the presence of starch. I think you understand better about this, and remaining topic we will discuss in the next session.